In March 1932, after the open all-union competition was completed, the final phase of the architectural contest began. 2 indoor stages of the competition followed, including the review of made-to-order projects and proposals submitted according to the personal initiative of the authors. The jury gave preference to the project of Boris Iofan. Architects Vladimir Shuko and Vladimir Gelafrek were invited to become co-designers in the development of the final version of the Palace of the Soviets. The Council of the Palace's construction approved a project with cylindrical-shaped tiers and Lenin's statue in the center. The project of Vladimir Gelafrek, Boris Iofan, and Vladimir Shuko, developed according to this plan, was approved for execution in 1934. The height of the building in the final version reached 415 meters, and the statue was 100 meters tall. The overall style of the building was based on the close cooperation of various kinds of fine and decorative arts. The Palace of the Soviet structure was shaped by rectangular and cylindrical spaces. The lower stylobate, which housed the large and small halls, had rows of rectangular terraces and led from the horizontal area to the cylindrical part of the building. The altitude was decorated with vertical partitions and mighty pillars, crowned with sculptural compositions. The facing of the building was made of granite, assumed with the application of stainless steel. As the cylindrical ledges narrowed from the bottom to the top, the steel gradually transformed into white metal, from which the sculpture of Lenin was to be made. A vast team of artists worked on the interiors of the most important building in the country. According to the plan, the decoration should have been no less impressive than the fronts of the building. At the center of the interior, there was a large hall, 140 meters in diameter and 97 meters in height, a grandiose amphitheater for 21,000 viewers. Its ceiling was supposed to create the impression of architectural sky, quite light and not oppressive. The parterre of the great hall could have been transformed into an arena, stage area, water pool, or even an ice rink with artificial ice. The second most important room was the small hall, which had a form of a theatre with a huge scene of the usual type. An artist, Pavel Korin, took part in the development of the interiors of the Palace of the Soviets and performed sketches for the painted panels and mosaics. The projected structure was really gigantic, designed to be dominant in the future city skyline. Moscow had no buildings of comparable size at that time, and the palace required changes in the entire urban setting. Transport solutions, traffic intersections, plazas, and avenues were taken into consideration. Several high-rise buildings were planned to be erected within the city boundaries in order to balance the new architectural dominant of the city stylistically. The media published special schemes with pictures of the largest and highest famous buildings of the world, and the Palace of the Soviets exceeded them in scale and size. The erection of the palace was started, but the Great Patriotic War interrupted the construction, and a part of the foundation was dismounted and used for anti-tank obstacles. In the post-war period, the contest was renewed, but the palace now was planned to be built on Lenin Sparrow Hills. On the site of the Christ the Saviour Cathedral, which was demolished in 1931, was erected an outdoor swimming pool. It started to function at the end of the 1950s and was open all year round. In the early 1990s, the swimming pool Moscow was closed, and the temple was rebuilt at the same place. It is widely considered that the results of the competition for the building of the Palace of the Soviets changed the style trends of domestic architecture, turning the vector of its development from rational principles and advanced technologies of the modern movement to the monumental formal compositions of architectural neoclassicism.